Happy to see you again today. I hope all of you are healthy and happy and also ready to start our course today. Time is running fast and today is already the fifth day of the course. After discussing about traditional conservation concept for a few days, today we will head to the laboratory for the practice of the traditional conservation methods. And in the laboratory, we are going to do a practice of extraction of natural products for wood conservation. And the person who will show us how to apply natural ingredients for wood conservation is Mr. Nahar. Mr. Nahar Cahyandaru, hello, good morning. I think I don't need
Good
to
morning.
introduce him. Yeah, good morning. I think I don't need to introduce him anymore because he has been with you, all participants, for the last 5 days. And yesterday, Mr. Nahar already talked about traditional conservation methods in Indonesia. And today he will show us some of them. And today the materials to be used are tobacco, cloves, and dried banana stalks. Yeah, these ingredients are very easy to find in Indonesia, and the price is very cheap. When in addition, Mr. Nahar will also use cloves essential oil for more practical applications. Well, to all participants, I also want to remind you, while Mr. Nahar do the practices, if you have any questions, like usual, you can write down your questions in the chat room and we will discuss in the discussion time. Hello, Mr. Nahar. Are you ready to rock in? Pak Nahar? Yeah, Mr. Nahar.
Yeah, we can start.
Okay, thank you. Well, our participant, we are already see Mr. Nahar in the laboratory, and then there are two guys will help Mr. Nahar. Hello, guys. And if you are ready, Mr. Nahar, we can start now, and the time is yours. Hello.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
we'd like to introduce. It should be on, but this is you cannot probably hear me because Pak Nahar tidak bisa dengar saya karena ini mikrofonnya. Oke, saya pakai ini dulu sebentar. Jadi mikrofon yang dinyalakan itu yang ada di alat ini untuk peserta yang tidak berbahasa Indonesia. Dan mikrofon saya yang di sini yang ada di layar akan saya mute begitu. Jadi Pak Nahar mungkin tidak akan dengar saya. Ya.
Oke, ya.
Peserta bisa mendengar, bisa mungkin minta konfirmasi dulu. Bisa dengar nggak?
Bisa didengar dengan jelas.
So after the introduction, Ahmad and Santoso will help me in this practice. So we talked about the conservation. This is traditional conservation. It's taken from traditional method from Kudus, Central Java, what they used to conserve wood items, among others, is banana stalk or part of the banana trunk, and also the tobacco solution. And then what we're going to do today is to extract the clove, and then we focus on the derivative products of the clove. And so we're going to extract the oil or the clove oil today. So that's what we're going to learn today. Now I'm going to show you. So this is tobacco. This is tobacco. This is usually part of cigars or cigarettes ingredients. Usually it's your tobacco, and you basically this is what part of the ingredients when you make your own tobacco, cigars, I mean. So this is from Muntilan. It's actually in the vicinity of this office. And for people who love cigars or smoke, usually they quite like this type of tobacco from Muntilan, Central Java. So we harvested the leaves, and they're usually still green, and then we ferment the leaves, and then we usually chop the leaves, and we dry the leaves, and then there will be the product, the tobacco products, and usually it is used as part of the ingredients for making cigars or homemade cigars. It is very easy to find this ingredient or this product in Indonesia. The second source that we're going to use is clove. So these are the clove blossoms. So as you know that the plant itself, it has leaves and also flowers, and these are the blossoms, and also skin or the bark of the plant. This type of natural product actually is multi-use, so there are many other uses for other purposes. In Indonesia, people usually also mix cloves in their their cigar ingredients. It's more like spicy and adds the aroma and the taste of the cigars, the homemade cigar, with the cloves, with the clove, the dried clove blossoms. And we source these ingredients from Menore Hills. It's only maybe 8 kilometers from the facility here. So the clove plant requires certain altitude to grow well and to produce a lot of blossoms or flowers that we are using. And we want to make sure that we have good quality of cloves. This is the oil, the extract or the clove extract. This is actually from the leaves. The composition or the properties are similar, but not exactly the same. In Indonesia, this is very affordable. It's only $20–30 per kilogram. It's about $15–25 or maybe $10 with the exchange rate today. And this oil or this extract is from the leaves. We don't use the extract from the cloves, the blossoms, the dried blossoms, because it is too costly. And this is banana stalk or stem. And this is dried. We actually haven't looked at the active properties of the stalk, but this is going to be functioning as the scrubber because the active ingredients are from the cloves extract. So it is a package. So the tobacco and then the extract, the clove extract, and this dried stem or the dried stalk here, we used all of them and then ferment them together and leave it for a few days. So in Kudus, it is a tradition to take care of their wooden houses and traditional joglo or traditional houses, especially using the old woods and teak wood, what they use to conserve and to preserve their wooden buildings, their wood buildings. They use this package or this fermented um, homemade conservation ingredients. So those are the ingredients. And then we're going to soak this for about 24 hours. So you can see this is the liquid with the tobacco and also clove. So it's the solution is 5% tobacco and 5% clove. And this is 400 milliliter. We use 20 grams of tobacco and 20 grams of clove. So this is exactly what the people traditionally in Kudus use these ingredients. So we soak this or we ferment this for 24 hours. And we can also heat this on a stove. But if you want to mimic the traditional way of this solution, then we use this cold process or the fermentation process using the cold process without any heat involved or high temperature involved. So we're going to do the hands-on now. You can see this is a piece of wood. This is just regular wood. So we actually picked this somewhere from the office area. And you can see this is quite dirty. We have dirt. And this also, it's like you can see there are some holes in here. And we can see mold in here. And usually you can find woods like this having, it's basically it's in the process of deteriorating. And then what we're going to use today is to apply the solution that we have made. We're going to apply the solution using this a dried banana stalk. And just crumble the banana stalk so it's easy and it's more absorbable for the solution here. You can be generous in terms of using the solution here so that the wood will be completely soaked. So lichens on maybe dirt and other stuff that is on the surface of this wood can be cleaned. So I'm only cleaning or scrubbing one side of this wood for the purpose of this hands-on. But in real life, if you're doing this or if you're following this method, then you have to clean the whole part of the items that you're cleaning. And after scrubbing with the banana stalk, then we can wipe it using piece of cloth. And if it's not too clean, I mean, like if there is, because in this case, actually, this wood is quite dirty. So I have to do it again in order for me to get rid of the lichen and also the dirt on the surface of this wood. And I can do this several times. Yeah. Oh, okay. 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 So, okay. I have a short announcement for you who joined us while the demonstration or the hands-on has already started. So there will be video uploaded of this hands-on. And if you're wondering what ingredients or what agents we are using, we are now doing a traditional way of a method of conserving or extracting ingredients for conserving wood materials. And what you see right now is this piece of wood that has been scrubbed with the solution, 5% of tobacco solution, and then 5% of the extract of clove leaves with 400 milliliter of water. And this treatment can be done a few times or several times because you want to make sure that the active properties of the solution works well for the wood. So this method is originated from a tradition of Kudus people in Central Java area that usually they take care of their wood house and their wood furniture using this solution. There will be question and answer sessions as well at the end of the hands-on session. So what we just did, it was exactly what the people in Kudus do. We didn't do any modification or any different things in the process. This method also has been standardized, and we actually have a publication regarding this traditional method, and we have distributed the information as well, or we have informed other people as well in Indonesia, especially with the conservation offices. And this method has been replicated in other areas as well. So what we're trying to do at the moment is to mainstream the traditional method. So there will be more people that use this easy and simple method. So if we are asked on how to take care, how to conserve or preserve our traditional wooden house, so the answer will be the solution. So that was the opening of our hands-on session. And we're quite proud of this method because we also did some scientific study on this. And also we have been informing other people or other relevant offices to use this method. And then the extract oil, extracted oil from natural sources. And I have shared with you links to YouTube videos on how to extract oil from tobacco leaves. But the product in my hands here is actually bought from the producer because we have a limited time to make it ourselves. So it takes time for us to produce high quality oil. Then we also will require a lot of time to produce it ourselves. And I would suggest our colleagues from other parts of the world, for example, from the Philippines and Malaysia, if you do it yourself and if you is it part of your research, then it will take time to extract the oil from these natural ingredients. I think I would suggest that you partner with producers of these extracts and use them. In our area in Yogyakarta and South Java, we're quite lucky because there are producers here that can basically make it for you. And they also do custom made extract. And I'm not really sure how it works in other countries, but here I can ask a producer to produce ginger oil, for example, or ginger extract, and they can make it for us. And it's quite easy to do here. There are some homemade producers, some home industries, and that can provide us with this. And we've been learning during these periods on the properties of different sources, different ingredients, and also different methods of extracting these natural sources. They use some distillation and other methods. They have different methods of extracting these natural sources as well. And if you use a variety of different ingredients, it will take time for you. So if you are maybe doing some study or some research, then maybe you can just source the products from the producers that you can trust. And for us as well, it is quite affordable to just buy from the producers. It's about 10, 20, $25. And I think it's still within the budget. So I guess we prefer to buy the ready-to-use extracts. So I'm showing you a piece of paper here with some ingredients, chemical agents here. So theoretically, these extracts or the extracted oil has eugenol, and the properties depend on the part of the plant that we extracted. For example, the flowers, it's about 81%. And then if it's from the leaf, it's lower. And then from the stem, it's about 98. And it's different in terms of the colorfilling or colorfilling agents here or property. It's about 11 or 12%. But this is not, but this property is not the main property that kills insects, for example, or any invasive material or bio materials here. As you can see, I also take this source, the data from Hanok. So the data is quite massive. It's the data from a study from Maluku, one of the many islands. Actually, Maluku itself is an archipelago, in the eastern part of Indonesia. And the Hanok conducted some study and then published the data of the properties of clove extracts. And this is the chemical diagrams here. This is the eugenol. This is the phenyl in the phenyl compound. And we have the cluster. This is the phenyl. This is methoxy. And this is a propylene. Well, for the carophyllene here, it's you can see it's more complex. And for this one, actually, it's not really effective for lichen or molds repellent. When eugenol is the property that we are aiming at here. And I know that Many of you are chemists and you are very familiar with this, the structure and so forth of these agents. And these are the compounds in clove or the clove extract. We're going to show you on how to extract eugenol from the clove ingredients that we have here. Because eugenol here is the anti-fungi, the anti-insect, and anti-mold, and this is what we want to have. This is the property that we use for the conservation. And I'm sure you can always find a lot of journals or reports or scientific papers on this. And now we're going to show you how to extract eugenol from the clove extract. So this is oil or the clove oil or the clove extract. We use about 10 milliliter for this, for the purpose. It depends on how much end product you want to have and to use. This is 10 milliliter. And we're going to correct this with the natrium hydroxide or with the lye and AOH 4%. We usually use the molar for the units, but we use this percentage just to make it easier for other people. So it's a 4% solution. And then, oh, actually, what we're using 30 milliliter. So we put this in the glass here. The oil or the extract, 10 milliliter of the extract and 30 milliliter of the sodium hydroxide. It's a spontaneous reaction, fast or rapid reaction here. It's only a few minutes to react this. So this is a chemical reaction. We have the hydroxide cluster, and then we mix it with the sodium hydroxide. And on the screen, the reaction that we have here. So we convert this property. The sodium eugenolate here, it's more like salt, and it's soluble. And for the chirophyllene, it is insoluble with an A because it have the OH. So this is our active ingredient here, the OH. It's O and A. And the sodium is ionic, so it's going to be the ionic compound, sodium eugenolate, and also it's become soluble, while this one here is insoluble, so it's not soluble in water. We're going to separate the extract, the one that is soluble and non-soluble. It's probably too technical in terms of this chemical reaction, but I'm trying to make it easier for everyone to understand. And if you're chemist, this is just like walk in the park. And if you don't have any background in chemical or in chemical science, then I hope that you can grasp the message, and also what we're trying to explain here, this chemical reaction. And so we isolate the soluble and the insoluble. And you can see our equipment here for the extraction. This is actually not the matching support here, but I think it's also okay. It's fine. We make use of what we have available. Now we pour it into the funnel. And it looks like it's homogeneous now, but we can wait for a few minutes, and the extraction process will continue. And we will wait for the extraction. It takes a few minutes. You can also use the ether compound, but we do not recommend it because it's toxic, and also it's combustible. And actually, although it's going to be also easy if you are used to dealing with this chemical process, or if you're a chemist, then maybe you can try that method as well. And sort of like what everyone can do by themselves, even if you're not a chemist. The oil here is also very, it's quite pungent. It's quite nice. You can smell the clove aroma. It's very nice in this room. So while waiting for the extraction here of the solution, um, I can tell you a little bit about the application of this extract or the clove extract in museums and also in the cultural heritage office or center. So some museums have used this. And the aroma is quite strong. And some people ask, where is the aroma from? It's in a museum. When they were in the museum and they smell it. And in Japanese tradition, that kind of aroma, the kind of smell is quite, it's like, um, it's quite sacred. It's like mystical or something like that. Because in Java, the people traditionally, they have this belief, and they also usually take care of some traditional weapons as part of their rituals and their traditions. And sometimes the smell of clove extract identifies with that kind of ritual. So maybe we can find other sources that do not smell like that. That can be used as well to serve the materials. And we are still looking for the ingredients or the sources for us to use. And also use citronella. And citronella, maybe the scent is more favorable. And then also lemongrass and lemon-like scent as well. Not a long while ago, actually, maybe there was a seminar a while ago in Sangiran, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. And then during the seminar, one of the resource persons presented the material on using the sense that we have, the senses that we have. For example, the touching and also the smelling. And I think in Europe, they have started to use this, that they made the replica of the paintings. It's a 3D replica, and then people can touch and then they have the experience of seeing and then feeling or touching the item. And also the sense of hearing. Some museums also have started to use audio, the audio for making people comfortable, and people will enjoy the museum, the ambience more. And also the temperature is set to a certain point where people are very comfortable spending time in the museum. And then the sense of smelling. The sense of smelling, if you choose some nice aroma, some nice scent for the museum, then that can also be a new breakthrough, I guess. And for us, it's quite challenging for us on how to source the extract that is maybe scent-wise nice, and also help people feel more relaxed, and also people can focus more on the value of this cultural items, the collection, and also have more information absorbed, while also having well the ingredients also have properties to repel molds or lichen or insects even. And of course, this is our homework that we need to do. And we are going to try out the citronella extract. And we were experimenting and we made the citronella emulsion as well. And also how we can basically extract the properties that are useful for our work. And we also will select some test area. Maybe some areas are not part of the temple, but some other areas where we can actually test or conduct a trial on using this other extracts. We also want to experiment this with our visitors, how they respond to the scent, or with different natural scents actually. And we want to find out if they are comfortable with the scents, for example, citronella scent or other ingredients or other sources. So we are looking forward to finding out if the visitors like the scent or not, citronella scent or not. All right. It takes a while, ladies and gentlemen, for extracting this. And you can see this, the separation has started to happen actually. You can see the separations between the soluble and the insoluble. The dark brown is, and then the light brown here is the carophyllene. You can take the sodium eugenolate or the eugenol here. The carophyllene is separated from the property we want to have. Okay, stop. Maybe you can zoom this. You can see the separation there. There are two layers, the dark brown and the light brown. The top part is the caryophyllene, and then the other part is the sodium eugenolate. We can continue the extraction. The bright brown here, the light brown is the caryophyllene, and we are not using that. We don't use that, as I said before. The caryophyllene does not have the active property for our purpose. And then we will convert this back to eugenol. We can stir this and We're going to use the hydrochloric acid and convert this back to eugenol. And we will see the eugenol and also the other part that we use to react this extract. So we add the hydrochloric acid and we need to have the exact measure to reach the balance of the reaction. So we're going to measure the pH. This is the hydrochloric acid, 6%. We'll check the pH level. And we're looking for the 4 pH here. The pH is still quite high. It's about 9. Around 10. So we can add more HCl. So we are looking for 4 for the pH level. We can add 2 milliliter at a time. And you can see the color changes every time we add more hydrochloric acid. It will result in insoluble eugenol. We can check the pH now. It's still quite high. We can add more HCl. There's a chance that we will require 25 milliliter for this. We'll see. And as we are approaching to predicted level or expected level, then we can add just a little bit of the hydrochloric acid. It's going down to 8 pH level. And you can see this is 4. So the reaction has reached its balance. So we added 24 milliliter. But you need to check the pH level over time while you're adding the solution here. You can see the separation of the eugenol. Let's wait for a second. We're going to clean the funnel. While waiting for the reaction to settle, we pour this back in the funnel. to extract the eugenol. We can see clearly it started to separate these two solutions here. The wood that we previously cleaned or scrubbed looks cleaner, and we can do this process a few times. And the more repetition, then the cleaner it gets. So that's a traditional method. And for the active ingredients extraction, we can wait for this to separate. And we can also do some analysis here, chemical analysis here on the solution or the products. We can use the NMR or GCMS, gas chromatography, mass microscopy, and we can learn more about the extraction. And apart from the analysis, we can also develop some other products based on the use of eugenol, maybe for insect repellents or other stuff. And I believe there are also a number of publications. And after this basic information, I think you can also develop other products, or you can basically do a little bit of study, or you can modify other ingredients and then make new products for your purpose.
Okay, Miss Vina. Yeah, I will take over this room. Well, well, everybody, all participants, Mr. Nahar already showed two wood conservation methods. The first is purely a traditional method used by the people of Kudus Regency, Central Java. And that was the practice of using tobacco, cloves, and dried banana stalks for wood conservation. The method comes from the traditional Javanese people. Then the second method, Mr. Nahar used essential oils that are purchased directly from the manufacturer. And I saw some questions in the chat room. The first question is from Mr. John Emmanuel. And the question is, what is the extract that is being rubbed with it? Oh yeah, oh, okay. Or Yeah, there we will upload it. We will upload these steps in the YouTube channel, right? In the YouTube channel, so all participants can see again in our YouTube channel in Borobudur and conservation Balai Konservasi Borobudur YouTube channel. Okay, then number 2, second questions from Mr. Sim Jun Hui. For the publication of this method, is it available for sale? If yes, where could we purchase it? I think our research center might be interested to purchase a copy for reference. Well, Pak Nahar, what about the publication method? Yeah.
We have publications, and also it is free to access online. And we have Journal Borobudur. This is also a publication that we have. However, everything is still in Indonesian.
Yeah, for the journal, you can access it freely in the borobudurpedia.id. Yeah, for the journal, for the publications, you can access it in the Borobudurpedia. I will write it. Okay. Borobudurpedia.id. Yeah, you can find the journal there. But still in Bahasa Indonesia. And the third question is from Mr. Ari Sulistyo. This is used as well as at local people in Kudus, Central Java only, or others in Indonesia. So Pak Nahar, is the traditional method only used by the Kudus people, or is it also used in other areas in Indonesia?
So basically, or mainly, it is used in Kudus, but Kudus is a big area actually. Maybe it's not Kudus per se, because there are also other regions in the same area like Jepara, Rembang, and it's also historically they were part of the regions are were part of Demak Kingdom. The publication was made in about around 2000, the year of 2000. And there are also some people conserving using the method in Kota Gede, Yogyakarta, and Mbak Mentari Halimun or Titin Novita from different islands. They can also share with us their experience using this method. We can also give the floor to Titin Novita or Mbak Mentari Halimun to explain to us or to share with us their experience. And our colleagues in Gorontalo also have experience using this method. So, but yeah, originally it is a method widely applied in Kudus area in Central Java.
Well, Mbak Titin, are you there? Mbak Titin, I think you can share your. Oh yeah, I think you can share your experience to us. It's okay in Bahasa Indonesia, but Vina will translate your explanation. Mbak Titin. Mbak Titin or Miss Titin or Miss Mentari Halimun, please one of you share your experience in using this traditional method. It's okay in Bahasa Indonesia, and Mbak Vina will translate your explanation. Please. Hello, Mbak Titin. Please open your speaker, please. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Hello? Hello? Can you hear my voice? Hello? Ya, Mbak Titin Novita or Mbak Mentari? Hello? Please answer me.
Yes, I can hear your voice.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Mentari Halimun. Would you please share your experience in using this traditional method to us?
Is it okay in Indonesian?
It's okay. And please, Miss Vina, to translate the explanation of Mbak Mentari Halimun. Yeah, it's okay in Indonesia.
Iya, selamat siang. Sebetulnya lebih baik kalau Mbak Titin yang menjelaskan ya, karena kalau saya yang menjelaskan, saya kan masih baru dan baru sekali mengikuti kegiatan konservasi berbahan kayu. Kalau di sini kita menggunakan cengkeh dan tembakau yang direbus dan diaplikasikan ke bangunan, yang sebetulnya itu sama dengan yang sudah dijelaskan oleh Mas Nahar. Jadi kalau sesuatu yang baru
in our region, we use tobacco solution
belum pernah dicoba gitu.
that we make ourselves and we apply it on the items. But for the cloth solution, we haven't actually used it.
Iya, kalau untuk menggunakan bahan yang lain itu kita belum pernah coba.
We haven't tried other solutions or other methods.
Gitu
Menurut
aja
Mbak
mungkin, Pak.
Mentari, bagaimana hasilnya? Mbak Mentari.
Gimana, Mbak? Maaf, putus-putus gimana, Mbak?
Ya. Menurut Mbak
Maaf,
Mentari,
Mbak, ya,
bagaimana?
sinyalnya kadang apa?
What about the result?
Oh iya. Kalau di sini kan penggunaannya di rumah tradisional, rumah gadang, Mbak ya.
Here in our area, we use it for our traditional houses or the gadang houses in West Sumatra.
Iya, kalau dari hasilnya itu kayu itu jadi lebih terang, lebih glowing gitu ya, lebih bersih.
And we can see the results. We can see that the wood is more glowing, or it's cleaner, and also the color somehow is brighter.
Iya. Kalau yang terlihat dari tampak mata yang paling jelas seperti itu.
I think that's the feasible feature that we can observe from the products or the items that where we apply the solution, the tobacco solution.
Okay, thank you very much, Mbak Mentari, for sharing. And we will go to the next question. So many questions now in the chat room. The next question is from Mr. Adam De Beer. If the object being concerned with the traditional methods has been previously preserved with synthetic products, does the traditional method interact chemically in any way with the synthetic?
It depends. What we try to avoid is if we use the synthetic products are hydrophobic, and in the past we use the polyacrylate. In the past we used it, and it's a hydrophobic, and this type of products will hinder the effectiveness of the use of this traditional solution. So if the trace of the old cleaning products is still there, we need to make sure that it's already removed. However, we haven't found any reaction or interaction between the old products and our traditional products here. However, we need to be careful if the old conserving or synthetic products block the surface of the items.
Okay, thank you, Pak Nahar, for the answer. And the next question, we go to Mr. Georgios. Congratulations. My question is, the solid part of the extract can be used like artificial pigment, for example, lacquer. The artists for the miniatures of the manuscript and the violin makers use these products. Terima kasih.
I think this is not a question, it's more of a suggestion and comments. And we really appreciate this kind of inputs. And thank you for sharing your knowledge on the violin conservation or how to take care of the violins. Thank you. Or we can also maybe pass on the microphone to Giorgio.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Giorgio, maybe you want to...
Selamat pagi. Okay, thank you very much.
Selamat pagi.
So I would like, I appreciate it so much, believe me, because if we go to see the old receipts not in Europe, okay, for the miniatures, they used this method to make artificial pigments, lacquers, because we have the dyes, the lacquers, and the pigments. They are artificial pigments because these products have more transparency than the pigments. Okay, and we can find some time to the mural paintings, to the paintings, normal paintings, but particularly they use today the violin makers because I worked for the technology of musical instruments in the violin schools. They make these products, the lacquers, using this method, but unfortunately they don't have all your extracts or your materials, first materials. So they will be very, very happy to have more knowledge about these materials. And you have tried to use this solid because it's reaction, very simple reaction, acid basic. Okay, the solid
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Georgios. It seems you have a problem with your connection.
Now I am connected again.
Yeah, no, you can continue. Okay.
Okay, I don't know where it stopped. So I say that these products are used today for the violin makers in Europe, in Italy, because I teach, I worked for the materials for the violins, technology materials. So they use these methods to obtain solid precipitates, so lacquers, using the natural materials. But unfortunately, they don't have all this big quantity different of materials to use that. So they will be, and we will be very happy to have more knowledge or all these products. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Giorgio, for your information. And I think it's a very valuable for us. And we go to the next question from Mr. Jawahir. Raduyan, I can see the surface of the wood became darker. Could the color will change back to original color or it remains the same?
Thank you. Jawahir is Miss Jawahir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Miss Jawahir. I'm sorry.
So when it's still wet, usually it's darker looking, but when it's completely dry, it's not dark. Giorgio also told us about the transparent effect. The people in the past, they basically layer wood materials or items with transparent agents. So if you really take care of the wood items more regularly, usually the wood items will, what Mandari said, is glowing. So it's natural looking. It doesn't darken the items, the wood products or the wood item. Exactly what Giorgio said. It's a layer, but it's transparent.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Nahar. And yeah, I'm sorry. Who is audio? Audio, Mr. Audio. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Audio. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Question from Mr. Audio. How long will the effects of these ingredients be effective? When should I do retouch?
What people usually do in Kudus, they do this process once a year. But in a cultural heritage center or office for your collection, you can start with applying this solution a few times at first, because usually there's some items that were not well conserved, and then you can start it to do this and then to choose this method. And then after that, when you're sure that it has been conserved well or has been taken care of, then you can apply this method once a year as well.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Vina. Thank you, Pak Nahar, for answer this question. And we will go to the next question from Sela Ayu Rahmadina. Hello, thank you for the I would like to know if the practice from Kudus Regency is applicable for decorated or painted wood. Would the texture of the banana stem be harmful to the wood surface when it is scrubbed to the wood, and if there any difference in the effectiveness if we just spray or it rub gently?
Ya, jadi untuk yang ada catnya, apalagi cat asli yang memang ingin ditahankan tidak dicocok.
We do not recommend using this on painted wood, especially if you want to maintain the color of the paint. However, traditional buildings in Kudus are not painted. The wood is not painted, so it is natural. It is just layered with this solution as part of the conservation of the wood item. So if you use this on a painted wood, it's not going to be effective because the surface is blocked. So also for scrubbing, you can use the banana stalk, or maybe you can use other soft cloth. And if you spray the wood, you need to help the process to be more effective with scrubbing it. And you can see, and you can imagine old wood or old piece of wood. Usually it has some like crack, like strain, like hair strain crack. And you can basically adjust the scrubbing method. If you use the scrubbing method here, with the conditions of the wood itself, you don't have to use the banana stock, but you can adjust it to other material where it is safe to use on the material, on the item.
And the next question is from Mr. Adam De Beer. Maybe you can directly answer Pak Nahar, because my chat room is disappear about the problem.
Itu kan ditanyakan kalau misalnya tidak sepenuhnya terlapisi ya, itu bisa juga ditanyakan bisa atau tidak.
So the question is whether we can use you can use it or not. The answer is yes, we can. It all comes back to the condition of the items that we want to conserve.
I'm sorry, because the trouble of the connection. And we will go to the next question from Miss Josephine Dilario. Hello, thank you. The presentation in the laboratory was so great. Did you monitor the wood elements treated with this method? Is that durable or need a regular retreatment? And after how long the element is again affected by biogrowth or insect infestation?
For houses or house buildings, usually people apply the solution once a year because it's more, the house has the outdoor parts. And while for the object, you keep indoors, then, or the elements, then you can actually do it maybe more than once a year. No, actually less than once a year. But of course, we still have to do retreatment. So it can last for more than a year. And then you can retreat the product or the items again.
Okay, we will continue to the next questions from Mr. Kaidar Saleh. Pak Nahar, very interesting. Can we mix this wood preservation solution with wooden ship sealant materials, then make them waterproof?
Mungkin bukan
Maybe not mixing, because the purposes are different. For if you do the treatment for waterproof treatment, for example, then you will use different solution or different agents. I think for the heritage conservation, so we don't really use a lot of waterproof treatments. And maybe it's in, actually what we do actually is like contradict to the waterproof sometimes, because we want to avoid the hydrophobic material. But if you conserve marine related items, maybe you can apply that. I'm not really sure about that. But for the cultural heritage or the heritage conservation, usually we don't really do a lot of.
Well, thank you, Mavina. Thank you, Pak Nahar. And we will go to the to Miss Gwen question. If the process is done once a year, do the community do it all at the same time with traditional practices, song, food, etc., or is it just a matter of house maintenance?
Ya, karena tembakau itu kan juga
Tobacco is harvested once a year, so it's more of like annual harvests. There is a period, but there is no ritual or traditional ceremony anymore. But Kudus is famous for the tobacco industry. It's the center of tobacco. So we have a major producer of tobaccos called the Jarum Company, or Jarum Group, and they all source their tobacco from Kudus. And then, actually the richest persons in Indonesia, usually they are players in tobacco industry. So once a year, they harvest the tobacco and then they process the tobacco, dry the tobacco, and so forth. And then there will be QC process for the tobacco that can be used for cigarettes or for the manufacturers. And then the leftover or somehow the product that didn't pass the QC is used for this purpose, for conserving their furniture and then their houses. So I guess maybe it was not intentional historically, but when they process the tobacco for the industry during the season, the harvest season, the QC passed tobacco is for the manufacturers, and then the leftover or the tobacco, they soak the side products, and then they use it and they utilize it for conserving the wood items. But there is no regular ceremony or traditional ritual there, but it's more adjusted to the season of the harvest or tobacco harvests.
Well, I think that's all questions. Yeah, all participants, we have about 10 minutes. Maybe you still want to ask to Pak Nahar about these topics. Maybe you can directly open your microphone. It's okay. You still have questions? Please. You can directly open your microphone and you can ask your question to Pak Nahar. Oh, I remind you, please fill out the attendance form in the links. Yeah. There is one more questions from Mr. Georgius. Yeah, you can go, Mr. Giorgio.
I start because never likes to speak, so it's more like comments than congratulations again. I have to repeat, really, you are a leader of the green conservation. Regarding the wooden materials, because I am wooden technologist too, it's a big problem. Why? Because we don't have new products. So we have only some resins, etc. All are synthetic resins to be used. This is a good way to study natural products for the wood. The problem is one, for my opinion, because in your country or in Asian countries, the environment it's different than in other countries. For example, in Arab countries or some countries in Europe, that you have a very humid climate, so the wood is equilibrated at high levels of relative humidity, wooden humidity. And in some countries in Europe or in Arab countries, other countries, then the humidity of the wood or relative humidity is very low. We cannot use these products with water. This is very interesting to study afterward, to modify or use some non-toxic solvent, for example, alcohol solution, not ethyl alcohol, but isopropyl alcohol, etc. Because I have personal experiences. I work in Egypt and I work in the St. Catherine Monastery, is in Mount Sinai. We have the oldest wooden trusses in the world, 1,500 years old functional wooden trusses. But the climate is very, 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 very dry. The relative humidity is lower than 30%, lower. So if I will apply a water solution, it will be destroyed, totally destroyed. So it's very interesting to study if we can modify this product using non-toxic organic solvents. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Pak Nahar, please give your comment for Mr. Giorgio.
Yes, as we live in a tropical country, but I agree with Giorgio's that we need to modify our tools here. However, this is the basic idea of how we source the products we use for conserving our cultural heritage materials. So from extracting ingredients from the nature and then to make essential oils. And then I think this is a stepping stone where the door is wide open for us to use other materials and then modify the basic solution that we have. But this is part of the basic information that we can share with you. It's a traditional method. And I really agree. I strongly agree with Giorgio's how we basically adjust this to the needs of the area.
Terima kasih.
Well, all participants, maybe Pak Nahar wants to give you the basic information about the traditional method, and then you can develop it in depend on your situation. I think that's the last discussion today, and I'm sorry, time keeps running, and now I think it's the time to close this session. And maybe Pak Nahar, you want to give the last statement, Pak, before we close this session, please.
Ya, terima kasih teman-teman ya.
Thank you very much to my dear colleagues that have been huge help for me in presenting this basic information. And on the topic that we have in this course, traditional conservation method can be a mainstreaming method that is easy to apply. And this is something that we hope to be a mainstreaming method in Indonesia. And the next step will be making this information more available to more people. And we hope that we can contribute to the wider community in conservation and the science of conservation. And we also have positive feedback from our participants here. Also, thank you very much, Mr. Georgios as well. And we understand that we need to explore more and we are open to having more discussions or further discussions on the future development as well as collaboration. And this is a good event that everyone can basically have a network together, and then we will conclude the session today.
Well, thank you, Mr. Nahar. Thank you, guys who helped in the laboratory. Thank you, all participants, for your good attention. Thank you, Mr. Giorgio. Thanks, Miss Gwen, Mr. Ari, and all participants. Thank you very much. And I hope what we learned today will be useful for for the conservation of our heritage. So that's for today. I'm sorry if I made some mistakes, and we will see you again at 1 p.m. and there will be a different topic. It's about conservation of metal, traditional conservation for metal heritage. Well, goodbye. Thank you very much. See you again. Bye-bye. Bye 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 bye. Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo.
Oh, masa iya, gimana, matang-matang.